Choppin' it up with Ramel. Choppin' it up with Ramel. Choppin' it up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat. Choppin' it up with Ramel. Choppin' it up with Ramel. Choppin' it up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat.
Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Choppin' It Up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat. Well, I hope everybody's weekend is off to a good start. Happy Saturday to everybody out there. Hey, listen, before I start, I just want to remind you guys that you can follow me on YouTube. You can go to youtube.com, search in Troy, Ramel, R-A-M-E-L, Royal. You'll see my videos there. You can make comments there. Just click on my videos. Watch them there, make comments. I will respond to you. Or you can go to my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Choppin' It Up with Ramel. CHOPPINITUPWITHRAMEL. Chopping It Up with Ramel. Hey, you can make comments there, post items there, post pictures there, post articles. Listen, I love to hear from you. And like I said, I will respond to you. Hey, listen, I want to start the show off for my college football fans out there. There is 4 football games today, bowl games, I should say. But there's one that I want you to keep an eye on, and that's the one that's going to be played out in Vegas. It's called the Las Vegas Bowl, and it features Houston versus San Diego State University. And the reason why I want you to watch that game or keep an eye on it, San Diego State has a 5'9" running back by the name of Donnell Pumphrey. It only needs 108 yards to become the all-time FBS rushing leader. He would break, here's a name from the past. I know my Giants fans out there know this guy. He would break the all-time record of rushing yards held by a collegiate running back in the FBS, which is the Football Bowl subdivision, that was held by Ron Dane out of Wisconsin. That's right, Ron Dane. He has 6,397 yards. This young man, Donnell, he needs only 108 yards to break his record. So keep an eye on that. Staying with football, we saw a Thursday night game that was a snoozer between the Rams and Seattle. We got a Saturday night game, and this is for the Miami fans out there. I know they're playing my team, the beloved Jets. The Jets are simply out of it. They could go out there and play spoiler tonight, but I don't see it happening. I believe if the Miami Dolphins, who's winners of 6 of the last 7 games, they got the Jets, Buffalo, and then the Patriots. Look like they're going head-to-head against Denver for that final wild card spot. As I mentioned yesterday, Denver has Patriots this weekend, Kansas City, and Oakland. That's going to be a tough 3 games for Denver. Hey, that's a tough 3 games for any team. I would like to see what Dallas would do with that. That's a tough game. A tough 3 games for anybody. So it's going to come down to the wire. Once again, Miami winners, 6 of the last 7. If they can get any kind of quarterback play, I don't see Tannehill suiting up. He has a sprained MCL and ACL. If they can get any kind of quarterback play just above average, I think they can beat the Jets today and keep themselves relevant in this playoff race. If they should lose today, it won't be over for them. It just get tougher for them. But I think that Miami probably going to go out to MetLife and give it their all. But I tell you, the Jets are probably going to go out there and do the unthinkable and play hard and try to win this game, where what they should be concentrating on really is trying to secure a high draft pick in every round in the upcoming draft. As simple as that. I mean, really, they need a running back. They need a quarterback. They need some defensive players. They got some aging veterans on there. That they got a lot of answers in the offseason. It looks like they're going to remain with Todd Bowles. I can live with that. But at the end of the day, Todd Bowles, he's going to have to regroup and re-equip this team on the fly. But again, Miami, look for them to come out victorious so they can continue their march or their pursuit for the wild card position. I doubt if they have an opportunity to catch the Patriots. So you got a good game on tonight, and that would be Miami and MetLife Stadium against the Jets. All right, moving on to the NBA, to the association. Wow, Houston, they continue their winning ways as they beat up on the Pelicans, which is one of the more disappointing teams in the league this year. Harden, he notches another triple-double. Listen, I'm going to tell you something, man. When the season started, I did not have Houston in the playoffs. I'm not a fan of Mike D'Antoni. I really believe that he's one-dimensional. His defense is not as always a question with any team that he plays with or coaches. But he's got this team really, really playing well, flying high. He found something with using James Harden at the point guard position. I thought that James Harden, a coach like D'Antoni, is a gift and a curse for him. It's a gift because James Harden, who's one of the most offensive-minded players in the game, will benefit from his style. But because D'Antoni lacks defense, I thought that it would hurt James Harden. But he's been so great on the offensive end with the ball that this team, man, it is putting up a bunch of points. And really, if you can't outscore them, you don't have a chance. But the question remains to see what happens in the playoffs when it slows down. I mean, on any given evening, any team can win, especially a high-flying offensive team. So let's see what happens when the playoff comes around. And there's no doubt in my mind, with Harden being a leading candidate under Westbrook, there's no doubt in my mind that this team is going to be in the playoff, especially with Dallas missing the playoff. I thought Dallas would be in the playoffs this year, but with Dirk having injuries, it hasn't worked out for them. But there's no doubt in my mind this team is going to be in the playoff, and they may have an opportunity to host the first round. So keep an eye on Houston. They're playing very well. In fact, D'Antoni is doing a pretty darn good job over there in Houston, considering he's a first-year coach there, first year there. And they got rid of Dwight Howard. They gone to Capella. They made some changes, as I said, at the personnel position at the point guard. They brought in Ryan Anderson as a stretch four. They brought in Eric Gordon, who's always been a shooter. Question about him was his health. Seems like he's been relatively healthy coming off the bench. So just keep an eye on that team. They're playing extremely well, extremely well. Sacramento gets a big win yesterday. And the thing about Sacramento, too, is that they beat Memphis, right? But more importantly, man, they were led by DeMarcus Cousins with 24 points. But here's the thing about Sacramento. With this win, there are only 2 games. They're tied with Denver, but they're only 2 games out of the 8th spot of the Portland Trailblazers. I didn't think Portland would make the playoffs this year. I thought Portland and Houston would come out of the playoffs this year. And here's my thing. I think Sacramento has a chance to hang around. So the question becomes now, does Sacramento become sellers or buyers at the break? Now, Rudy Gay has already gone on record saying that he will explore his options at the end of the year. He's a free agent. But the question remains, do they become sellers or buyers? Do they hold on to DeMarcus Cousins for one more year? Because truth be told, they don't have to trade him this season. His contract is up the following season. So they have him under the hook for one more year. And if they're winning and contending for a playoff spot, maybe some of this DeMarcus Cousins talk will go away. Maybe Rudy Gay may stick it out. So the question is this, and I'm sure they won't have no shortage of suitors for Rudy Gay, and definitely no shortage of suitors for DeMarcus Cousins. But do you hold on to DeMarcus Cousins and maybe wait till the offseason? Or do you hold on to Rudy Gay and gamble that maybe you retain his services? Or do you let him walk possibly for nothing? I mean, these are a lot of questions. What is more beneficial for this club going forward? Making the playoffs? Or maybe trying to retool for seasons to come? Because they have 2 assets in DeMarcus Cousins and Rudy Gay that could be worth netting something in return, especially DeMarcus Cousins. And I'll tell you, Rudy Gay would be an excellent fit in Atlanta and an excellent fit in OKC. Now, what goods do they have to return back? That I'm not sure. But they would be excellent fits in both areas, both places. Maybe they can net a first-round pick as well as maybe some youngsters. You keep in mind they both make about $16 million. They should be able to get $16 million worth of players back. Maybe you can get some youngsters that's on the bench there that could use a change of venue. And then also get a first-round pick. Word around the town is that the draft is going to be pretty deep this year. And if they miss out on the playoffs because they made these trades or made a trade, their pick is going to be high. So keep an eye on Sacramento, man. There's some things that's changing in the West. Speaking of the West, the Lakers. When you have an 8-game losing streak and in need of a win, what better place to land? Philadelphia. The Lakers go into Philly last night and snapped their 8-game losing streak. Kudos to them. Only bad problem about that is they head to Cleveland tonight. But hey, that's cool because you avoid possibly a 10-game losing streak. And 10-game losing streak, that could mess with your mental. And here's the thing. This win came after what probably was overdue and was very important. Luke Walton, he went on record and said, nice guy is over with. He had to lash into his players. And you know what, man? Sometimes you need that, man. Sometimes you need that. You just got to lash into your players, man. Give them a little heart-to-heart talk, a little stern talk, and tell them, hey, let's turn this ride around, man. Let's turn this ship around, man. Let's get it back to some of the better days, man. You're capable. Just a friendly reminder. So kudos to the Lakers and Luke for snapping that losing streak. And hopefully they can go into Cleveland and do the unthinkable. All right? Hey, listen, Atlanta, I've been tough on them all year. In fact, I'm going into their playground today to watch them take on the Charlotte Hornets. But here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. I don't have Atlanta making the playoffs. And right now, I think they're right around that 500 mark. They might be in that 8th spot or right below the 8th spot. But what a big road win last night. They went into Toronto, got the win. I think it was something like 124 to 122 or 122, somewhere like that. 124, 121, something like that. But anyway, they were led by Dwight Howard, who had, I think he had 27 and 15. Schroeder had 24 and 6. And then you had Corver, which came off the bench now, and he had 19. So good win for them. Anytime you can go on the road, especially Toronto, and notch that win, that's a good win. The Hawks is another interesting team, too. I think they need some wing play. Like I said, I think Rudy Gay would be a great fit there. But will they be buyers or sellers at the break? I look at it, and I may have mentioned this before on a previous show. DeMarre Carroll was a big part of their team a couple of years ago when they notched that number 1 seed. He departed during his free agency walk. They returned the services of Millsap at that time. But when you look around, Horford has walked. Millsap is a free agent at the end of the year. Do you take a risk and play the season out and hold on to him and think you can retain his services? Or do you go ahead and make a trade? And if so, I think Toronto's a perfect landing spot for him. You might be able to net yourself Quentin Ross, a nice outside wing player. Remember, this guy was a starter before DeMarre Carroll got there. Maybe you can not a first-round pick attached to that, and maybe somebody else that's along the bench that they'll be willing to trade. But look out. I'm curious to see what Atlanta does at that point there, because to lose Millsap for nothing as they did for Horford, in the case with Horford, they lost him, but they did net Dwight Howard. And Dwight Howard has been the biggest free agent signing that they've had that was of a popular figure. Remember, when they signed Millsap a couple of years ago and DeMarre Carroll, they came from Utah. They wasn't a big name. Millsap made himself into a player, actually. Joe Johnson was traded to them, and then he re-signed. But for a big name to physically just walk over there and sign with them, it hasn't happened. Dwight Howard was the first. And here's the thing. Can Dwight Howard attract a free agent if Millsap should walk out? I don't know. They committed to Schroeder, so the thoughts of maybe Chris Paul coming to Atlanta, that's not going to work out. And I think Chris Paul, if he leaves the Clippers, is headed to New York. So I don't know, man. It's something that the Atlanta brass has to think about going forward. I don't see an adequate replacement on the staff to replace Millsap if he should walk. So I would think that hard and I would think that over and see if it's worth holding on to him. So with that said, what's happened to the Bulls? What has happened to the Bulls? They lost at home against Milwaukee. Milwaukee now has climbed up into like the 5th spot. What has happened with that? I'm not sure what's going on with them. Looks like they're falling on some hard time. There's too much talent over there. They fell out of the playoffs as we speak. I think they're in the 9th spot. That's one thing about the East. They say the East is weaker than the West. Okay, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. But I know this. A 2-game losing streak, you're looking up at the top 8. A 2-game winning streak, you could be looking down at the bottom 11. Yeah, it's one of those things where you need to win, man. I mean, it's a lot of parity over there. Boston, they get a win last night against Charlotte to tie the Knicks for 3rd place. The Knicks play tonight, by the way. So, I mean, you just don't know, man. I mean, you a 2-game winning streak, boom, you're here, 2-game losing streak, you're looking up. So, listen, you got to win, man. You got to win. You got to avoid some long losing streak. Speaking of the Knicks, they play tonight. Final game of their 5-game road trip out west. They're 2-2. They suffered some injuries along the way with Melo and Rose. Hopefully they can return back tonight and salvage this road trip before returning home. Because, again, a 3-game, if they can win this game and go 3-2 on the road trip, they will reclaim 3rd place ahead of Boston. So that's a big game tonight for the Knicks against Denver. And you say Denver, big game. Yeah, it is a big game. Anytime you can go out west and come back with a winning record, it is a big game, man. So, and plus, it's Carmelo going back to a place that he called home for his first 8 years in the league. So, I mean, this is a big game, man. And hopefully Melo can suit up tonight, and hopefully Rose can suit up tonight, man, because this Denver team, one thing about teams that are not in the playoffs or don't have winning records doesn't mean they're pushovers, man. Some of these teams have some young depth. They're 2 at every position, and we seen it in Phoenix, a game that the Knicks should have won. If you don't get rid of them early, next thing you know, you're in for a game. So we'll see what happens as I go along. Knicks should be able to pull out this win. We need this win, New York. We need this win. Listen, that's going to do it for today. I'm going to close the show on that. Hey, listen, as I always say, I see you back here in 24. I respect everybody who tunes in, posts his comments. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. Keep it coming, man. That fuels me to do what I do, man. I feed off of your energy. Believe it or not, I feed off of your energy. So, listen, I'll see you in 24. Have a great Saturday, man, and we'll chop it up tomorrow. All right? Peace and blessing. Y'all have a blessed day.